The rope hung from the ceiling like a challenge. 50 feet of braided nylon. Standard SEAL training equipment. Every operator in the Navy knew this rope. Climbed it hundreds of times. 2 hands, 2 arms, upper body strength. Simple. Except Jake Wilson only had 1 arm. The training instructor, a grizzled Master Chief named Harrison, stood at the base of the rope with his arms crossed. Around him, 20 SEAL candidates watched, waiting, some smirking, some genuinely concerned, all thinking the same thing: this is impossible. "Wilson," Harrison called out, "you've been cleared by medical to attempt reinstatement. That means you follow the same standards as everyone else. Same tests, same qualifications, no accommodations. You understand?" Jake stood 10 feet from the rope, staring up at it. His right arm, his only arm, hung at his side. His left arm ended at the shoulder. Gone. Blown off by an IED in Afghanistan 14 months ago. The prosthetic arm he'd been fitted with was back in his locker. This test required flesh and blood, raw strength, human capability. "I understand, Master Chief," Jake said quietly. "Then show me. 50 feet. No time limit, but you have to make it to the top." Jake approached the rope, reached up with his right hand, gripped it, felt the rough texture against his palm. Around him, he could hear whispers, muttered comments. "No way. Impossible. This is cruel. Should have just medically retired him." Jake didn't care about the whispers. He'd heard worse in the past year. Been told by doctors he'd never be a SEAL again. Been told by the Navy that losing an arm meant losing his career. Been told by his own teammates, former teammates, that he should accept reality and move on with his life. But Jake Wilson had spent the last 14 months refusing to accept reality, refusing to believe that one missing arm meant he was finished. And now, standing at this rope with every eye on him, he was going to prove them all wrong. He jumped, right hand gripping the rope, right arm pulling, legs wrapping around the rope for support. And then he started to climb, not the way 2-armed climbers do. He couldn't hand over hand up the rope. Instead, he pulled with his right arm while his legs pushed, gaining maybe 6 inches per pull. Slow, inefficient, painful. His right arm, his only arm, was doing work meant for 2. The muscles in his shoulders screamed. His grip began to slip. 10 feet up, 20, 30. The whispers had stopped. Everyone was just watching now. Some in awe, some in horror. Watching this one-armed man force himself up a rope through sheer determination and physics-defying strength. 40 feet. Jake's grip was failing. His arm was burning. He could feel his fingers starting to slip on the rope. 5 more feet. Just 5 more feet. 45 feet. His hand slipped. Caught himself. 3 more feet. 48 feet. He reached up one more time. Touched the beam at the top. 50 feet. He'd done it. The room erupted. Not in applause. This was the Navy SEALs, not a cheerleading competition, but in a low murmur of disbelief. Jake slid back down the rope, his right palm burning from friction. When his feet hit the ground, Master Chief Harrison was there. "That," Harrison said slowly, "was the most inefficient rope climb I've ever witnessed. It took you 4 minutes and 37 seconds. The standard is under 90 seconds. Jake's heart sank. 4 minutes. He'd made it to the top, but he'd failed the time standard. "However," Harrison continued, "you made it to the top with 1 arm, which means you just did the work of 2 arms with 1. In my book, that's not a failure. That's adaptation." He paused. "Welcome back to training, Wilson." That was March 2013, the day Jake Wilson became the first amputee to be reinstated to SEAL training. But it was also the day the mockery truly began, because making it up a rope once didn't mean the other SEALs believed he belonged. It meant they thought command was making a mistake, a dangerous mistake, and they weren't shy about saying so. "Ironman's gonna get someone killed," Jake heard Petty Officer Marcus Chun say in the chow hall. The nickname had started almost immediately. Ironman. Half joke, half insult. a reference to both his prosthetic arm and the presumption that he thought he was some kind of superhero who could function with one arm. "Can't believe they're letting him back," another SEAL, Rodriguez, muttered. "This isn't about being inclusive. This is combat. You need two arms. Period." Jake sat alone at a corner table, eating with his right hand. His prosthetic, a state-of-the-art myoelectric limb that responded to muscle signals in his residual shoulder, sat beside him like a foreign object. He could use it, could grip things, could even hold a rifle with it if the positioning was right. But it wasn't his arm, would never be his arm. It was a tool, a helpful tool, but ultimately a replacement for something that couldn't be replaced. The real question everyone had, the question no one would say out loud, was how Jake would function in combat. Because SEAL operations required things that seemed impossible with one arm: rappelling, fast roping from helicopters, handling explosives, performing buddy carries with wounded teammates, engaging in close-quarters combat. All of these things were designed for operators with two functioning arms. Jake knew this, knew every doubter was partially right. A one-armed SEAL was a liability, unless that one arm could somehow do the work of two. So that's what Jake decided to make it do. The human body is remarkable at adaptation. When one limb is lost, the remaining limbs compensate. Athletes who lose legs develop incredible upper body strength. People who lose arms develop enhanced dexterity in their remaining hand. The brain rewires. The muscles grow. The body adapts. Jake took this principle and pushed it to an extreme. For the next 6 months, he trained his right arm obsessively, not just to maintain strength, but to exceed it, to become superhuman in that one limb because it had to do the work of two. He did pull-ups with one arm, push-ups, shifting all weight to the right side, grip strength exercises until his hand could crush objects, dexterity drills until his right hand could reload a rifle, manipulate tools, tie knots as fast as most people could with two hands. His right arm became a weapon, not figuratively, literally. The muscles in his shoulder, bicep, tricep, forearm grew to proportions that looked almost cartoonish. His grip strength, measured on a dynamometer, exceeded 200 pounds. That's twice the average male grip strength. His one hand could do things most people needed two hands for. But the real adaptation was his prosthetic. Jake worked with engineers at Walter Reed to customize it specifically for SEAL operations. Standard prosthetics are designed for civilian life. Opening doors, holding cups, basic daily tasks. Jake needed something that could hold a rifle steady under recoil, could grip a fast rope without slipping, could manipulate tools underwater, could punch through a door if necessary. What emerged was a hybrid, part prosthetic, part weapon. The hand could switch between different grip modes, precision for small tools, power for heavy lifting, weapon-specific for rifle manipulation. The forearm contained a quick-release system for attachments. And the entire thing was waterproof, shock-resistant, and could interface with Jake's muscle signals to provide near-natural control. It was, as one engineer described it, the most advanced combat prosthetic we've ever built. Jake called it his left arm, because that's what it was. Not a replacement, an evolution. By September 2013, Jake had completed his requalification training, passed every test, not at standard, above standard. His one-arm pull-ups exceeded the reps that most operators could do with two. His shooting scores, using a rifle braced with his prosthetic and controlled with his natural hand, were in the expert range. His underwater demolition work, his navigation, his medical training, all of it not just adequate, but exceptional. Master Chief Harrison pulled him aside after final qualifications. "Wilson, I'm going to be honest. When you first came back, I thought this was a publicity stunt. Command trying to prove a point about inclusion. I thought you'd wash out in a week." "And now?" Jake asked. "Now I think every operator in the teams should train the way you do, because you've proven that limitation forces innovation. You can't do things the standard way, so you found better ways. Your rope climbing technique, wrapping the rope around your prosthetic forearm for friction while pulling with your natural arm. is actually more efficient than the two-handed method in certain situations. Your one-handed rifle manipulation is faster than most shooters with two hands because you've eliminated wasted movement. You're not just as good as a two-armed operator, Wilson. In some ways, you're better. Jake didn't know how to respond to that. He'd spent 14 months being told he was less than, disabled, limited. Hearing that he might actually be better was strange. Don't let it go to your head, Harrison added. You're still Ironman, and that nickname isn't going away. But maybe it means something different now. Jake deployed to Afghanistan in November 2013, his first combat deployment since losing his arm. The SEAL platoon he joined, Team 7, Alpha Platoon, was professional but skeptical. They'd heard about the one-armed SEAL, heard he'd passed qualifications. But combat was different than training. Combat revealed weaknesses. And they were convinced Jake's missing arm would be a weakness that got people killed. The platoon's senior enlisted advisor, Senior Chief Marcus Hawk Thompson, gathered the team before their first operation. Listen up. Wilson is on the team. Command says he's qualified, so he's qualified. But I'm making one thing clear. Anyone who thinks Ironman is a liability, keep it to yourself. We function as a team or we don't function at all. Understood? Nods around the room, but Jake could see it in their eyes. They didn't believe. They were waiting for him to fail. The first operation was a night raid on a Taliban compound suspected of housing a high-value target. Standard direct action. Fast insertion via helicopters. Breach the compound, secure the HVT, extract. Textbook SEAL Op Jake was assigned to the assault element, the first team through the door. As they loaded onto the helicopters, Jake heard Chin mutter to Rodriguez, "Hope Ironman doesn't slow us down." Jake said nothing. He'd learned that words didn't change minds. Only actions did. The helicopters roared through the darkness, flying low to avoid radar. Jake sat in silence, checking his gear. M4 rifle, customized with a foregrip that his prosthetic could lock onto. Pistol strapped to his right thigh. Breaching charges. Flashbangs. Night vision goggles. Every piece of equipment tested and retested to work with his one-arm plus prosthetic configuration. They touched down 200 meters from the compound. The SEAL team moved through the darkness like shadows. 12 operators. Jake was number 3 in the stack, the breach formation. When they hit the door, he'd be the third man in. They reached the compound wall. The point man placed a breaching charge on the gate. Everyone took positions. Jake's prosthetic arm held his rifle steady, while his natural right hand controlled the trigger. The charge detonated. The gate exploded inward. The stack moved. First man in. Second man. Jake third. He entered the compound at a run, rifle up, scanning for threats. The first room, clear. Moving through to the second. Hallway. A door on the right. Jake's natural hand reached out, turned the handle, pushed the door open while his prosthetic kept the rifle aimed. Not a standard two-handed technique, but faster, more efficient. The room had 3 Taliban fighters. They were scrambling for weapons. Jake engaged the first with a double tap. The second was raising an AK-47. Jake shifted aim, fired. Down. The third was diving behind a bed. Jake's prosthetic hand released the rifle, which hung on its sling, and in one fluid motion, Jake drew his pistol with his natural hand and fired around the bed. Target down. 3 enemies. Maybe 5 seconds. The other SEALs entering the room stopped and stared. Holy shit, Ironman actually can fight, Chin breathed. They cleared the rest of the compound systematically, found the HVT, secured him, called for extraction. The operation lasted 47 minutes. 0 friendly casualties. 3 enemy Kia by Jake. HVT captured. Perfect operation. On the helicopter ride back, Senior Chief Thompson sat down next to Jake. "Wilson, I owe you an apology. I thought you were a liability. I was wrong." "No apology needed, Senior Chief. You were being cautious. I get it." That room clearing, switching from rifle to pistol one-handed while engaging multiple targets, that was some of the best CQB I've seen. How the hell did you do that so fast? Jake held up his prosthetic. This isn't just a hand, Senior Chief. It's a quick release system. When I need to drop the rifle, it disconnects instantly. No fumbling, no delay, just release and draw pistol. It's actually faster than a two-handed operator transferring between weapons. Thompson looked at the prosthetic with new appreciation. You've weaponized your disability. I've adapted my capability, Jake corrected. There's a difference. Over the next 7 months, Jake ran 23 more operations. Hostage rescues, direct action raids, reconnaissance missions. Every single one successful. His kill count, 23 confirmed. His techniques, the one-handed rifle manipulation, the prosthetic quick release, the superhuman right arm strength, became teaching points for the platoon. But the operation that would define his legend came in June 2014. The mission was a hostage rescue. 2 American contractors kidnapped by a Taliban splinter group. Intelligence indicated they were being held in a compound in the mountains near the Pakistan border. The compound was heavily defended. Estimates put the enemy strength at 30 to 40 fighters. The hostages were in a second-floor room with guards inside and outside the door. The plan was a vertical insertion. Fast rope from helicopters directly onto the compound roof. Breach from above. Fight their way down to the hostages. Secure them. Fight back up to the roof for helicopter extraction. Aggressive. Dangerous. Exactly the kind of operation SEALs trained for. The problem emerged during insertion. As the SEALs fast-roped onto the roof, enemy fighters inside heard the helicopters and opened fire. The second helicopter, carrying half the assault team, took heavy fire and had to abort. 6 SEALs made it onto the roof. 6 more were waving off, unable to insert. The mission was now 6 SEALs against 40 enemies with 2 hostages in the middle of a fortified compound. Senior Chief Thompson made the call. We're still going. 6 is enough. We adapt. Ironman, you're on point. Your call on the breach. Jake moved to the roof access door. Locked. Steel reinforced. Not breaching with explosives. Too much risk to the hostages below. He looked at his platoon. 5 operators. Against 40. The math was bad. We go fast. We go violent. We don't stop until we have the hostages. Questions? No questions. SEALs didn't question when lives were on the line. Jake kicked the door. It didn't budge. He kicked again with his prosthetic-assisted leg strength. The door frame cracked. Third kick. The door flew inward. Stairs leading down. Jake descended, rifle up. Bottom of the stairs. 3 Taliban fighters turning to face him. Jake's right hand fired controlled bursts. All 3 down before they could raise their weapons. Moving forward. The prosthetic arm was working overtime now, holding his rifle steady while his natural hand controlled trigger and manipulation. Opening doors. Checking corners. Jake's natural right arm had been trained for 14 months to handle all the fine motor work, while the prosthetic provided stability and strength. The combination was devastatingly effective. First floor. For more enemies. Jake and the team engaged. A firefight erupted. Jake took cover behind a stone pillar. A Taliban fighter rushed him with a knife. Jake blocked the knife hand with his prosthetic. The metal arm absorbed the strike without injury, then countered with a punch from his natural right arm. The strength training he'd done for 14 months had made his right arm superhuman. The punch connected with the fighter's jaw. The fighter went down unconscious. Did Ironman just one-punch a dude? Rodriguez shouted over the gunfire. Focus. Thompson barked. They fought their way to the second floor. The hostage room was at the end of a hallway. For guards outside, Jake pulled a flashbang with his natural hand. His prosthetic steadying his rifle. Tossed the flashbang. Detonation. The guards were blinded. Jake and the team rushed the hallway. For guards down in seconds. Jake reached the hostage door. Locked. He didn't have time for finesse. He reared back and kicked with his full strength that had been concentrated into one superhuman right leg and one prosthetic-enhanced left leg. The door exploded inward. 2 hostages. 3 guards inside raising weapons. Jake engaged with his rifle. Guards down. Hostages alive. We're Americans. You're rescued. Stay down. But the compound wasn't done fighting. The remaining 30-plus Taliban fighters were converging on the second floor. The hallway was a fatal funnel. The SEAL team was about to be overrun. Jake made a decision. Get the hostages to the roof. I'll hold the hallway. Negative, Ironman. You'll be killed. That's an order, Senior Chief. Get them out. I'll follow. The team hesitated for half a second, then grabbed the hostages and moved toward the stairs. Jake took position at the hallway entrance. One man, one natural arm, one prosthetic, against 30-plus fighters trying to come up the stairs. For the next 8 minutes, Jake Wilson fought the most intense combat action of his life. The Taliban came in waves. Jake fired controlled bursts from his rifle. When the magazine ran dry, his prosthetic released the rifle, and his natural hand drew his pistol in 0.8 seconds, faster than most two-handed operators. He fired the pistol, reloaded with his natural hand while the prosthetic retrieved the rifle. Switch back. The transitions were seamless, fluid, impossibly fast. A fighter reached the top of the stairs. Jake's prosthetic arm, enhanced with combat-grade strength, punched the fighter's rifle aside. Then Jake followed with a natural arm strike to the throat. The fighter went down. Another rushed with a knife. Jake blocked with his prosthetic. The blade scraped harmlessly off the metal and countered with a brutal kick that sent the fighter tumbling back down the stairs. 8 minutes. Jake held that hallway alone. Estimated 30 Taliban fighters tried to get past him. None did. 14 were confirmed killed by Jake. The rest retreated. The radio crackled. Ironman, this is Hawk. Hostages are secure on the roof. Helicopter incoming. Get up here now. Jake fell back, covering his retreat, firing as he moved. He reached the roof. The helicopter was hovering. The team was already aboard. Jake ran toward it, grabbed the fast rope with his prosthetic, and climbed one-handed while under fire from below. His right arm, his superhuman right arm, pulled him up the rope faster than some operators could climb with 2 arms. He tumbled into the helicopter. The bird pulled away. The compound receded below them. The hostages were crying. The SEAL team was silent. All of them were staring at Jake. Finally, Chin spoke. Ironman, you just held the hallway, alone, against 30 dudes, for 8 minutes, with 1 arm. Jake was breathing hard. His prosthetic had scorch marks from where bullets had hit it. His natural arm was shaking from fatigue. Actually, he corrected, 1 natural arm plus 1 prosthetic. 2 arms, just different kinds. Bullshit, Rodriguez said, but he was smiling. That natural arm of yours is worth 3 arms. And that metal one? That's like having a shield and a weapon at the same time. You're not one-armed Ironman. You're enhanced. Senior Chief Thompson knelt beside Jake. 14 kills. 8 minutes. Held the hallway alone. Wilson, that's going in the after-action report as one of the most impressive individual combat performances I've ever witnessed. You didn't fight like a one-armed operator compensating for a disability. You fought like a one-armed operator who's better than most 2-armed operators. Jake looked at his prosthetic, at his natural arm, at the SEAL team that had doubted him. I'm not better, he said quietly. I'm adapted. There's a difference. I lost an arm. That's real. That's a disability. But it forced me to become something else. Something different. Not better or worse. Just different. And sometimes different is exactly what a mission needs. The Medal of Valor ceremony was held 3 months later. The citation read, "For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty, Petty Officer First Class Jake Wilson single-handedly defended a hallway against overwhelming enemy forces, enabling the rescue of 2 American hostages and the safe extraction of his team. His actions exemplify the highest traditions of the United States Naval Service." But it was a speech the Admiral gave that Jake would remember most. Petty Officer Wilson represents something vital that we sometimes forget in the military. Adaptation is strength. When we lose capability in one area, we can develop capability in another. Wilson didn't try to be a two-armed operator with one arm. He became the best one-armed operator possible. And in doing so, he proved that limitation is not disability. Limitation is opportunity to evolve. After the ceremony, the nickname Ironman was officially adopted. But it didn't mean what it used to. It wasn't mockery.